Start of the European season of the FF1M comes to you from the Imola circuit in Italy, although we call it the San Marino Grand Prix as there is already an Italian Grand Prix in Monza. So let's have a look at the circuit. It's been punctuated by chicanes. There's the Tamburello, the first one, then it's into the Villeneuve. There's also the Variante Alta near the middle of the lap, and the final chicane. One driver that particularly loved it last season was Fernando Alonso for FJR. He's hoping for a repeat victory, this time with AJ. We're expecting a mixture of 2 to 3 stops, most teams opting for the 3. Meanwhile in Q1, once again Shannon failed to make it through, as do Autumn Dynamics. Andy Racing just scraping through. How's our Guy Racing? But AJ looking quite comfortable at the top. Alonso was fastest in that first session. And here's the starting grid. And it's Jenson Button and Kimi Raikkonen on the front row. Both drivers looking particularly strong on this circuit, especially on the medium tyres as well, which would give them a beneficial advantage in the race. Kubica takes third. He's hoping for another podium finish, and will be hoping to beat Lewis Hamilton as well. Impressive effort from Sebastian Buemi in the Mitchell, out-qualifying Fernando Alonso. Felipe Massa's 7th, he's looking to make up for the heartbreak of Bahrain, where he looked extremely strong and looked set for victory until his engine blew up. No doubt thanks to the fickle reliability of the KERS, which by the way has received, all teams running KERS have received an extra 20% boost in reliability after the problems that they have caused in the first few races. So let's go through the starting procedure. 4 lights, 5 lights, all the 5 lights are on, and the 5 lights are out very quickly there. Poor start from Kimi Raikkonen, he must have been caught out. And let's have a look at Kubica. Oh, he's again out-brake, Button into turn 1, he does so. Kubica takes the lead from 3rd on the grid, great start from the Polish driver. And Raikkonen held on to 3rd. Meanwhile further back, Sutil, 22nd position, which means that all cars have made it through the Tamburello. And Robert Kubica pulling away. This is exactly what he needs, and exactly what he needs as well is reliability. It's been a strong circuit for FJR as Imola. Remember John Alesi running very strongly in the 91 season before his suspension failed. At that very corner that just went through, the Piratella. We're on board with Lewis Hamilton. Here comes the first lap carnage potential into the Aqua Minerale. We've seen incidents here. Hamilton up the inside, and there's an incident, and once again a car explodes and look at that! Hamilton took Massa out there, refused to let go, and look at that, a big shunt from behind. Trying to work out who that was, but definitely Raikkonen's out of the race and Massa rejoining. But it's Kubica from Button. And they've got a long way out of there. It's Buemi's out of the race. That's extremely disappointing for him because he qualified so well. Alonso's out as well. So I'm guessing those 2 cars got caught up in the aftermath of the incident. We'll have to have a look at replays there. The main beneficiaries are Kubica and Button. They've got a 7-second lead ahead of Lewis Hamilton. And it looks like it's going to be a dogfight between these 2 drivers. But Button is closing up on Robert. Button looks to have the car underneath him. Let's go through the top 8. It's Kubica from Button, Hamilton, Klein, who has made up a lot of positions. He started 10th and he's up to 4th, so great start from him. Rosberg up a few positions. Button closing in. Is he going to have a look? No, he's thinking better of that. That is the difference between a world champion and a non-world champion such as Hamilton. But he's close into Ravazza now. Will he have a look at the inside? No, he's sensible. He's very mature, is Jensen, and Glock and Pantner scrapping, and that's Pantner losing a position to Rubens Barrichello. But Kubica definitely holding Button up a little bit. So Button definitely has the car dialed in. They're closing in on the straight. Doesn't seem close enough into Tamburello on the 3rd lap. But it's Hamilton who's the fastest man on the track, so that first lap incident hasn't done him any harm. But having a look into Villeneuve, not a chance there. Timo Glock has had a cracker of a start, from 12th on the grid up to 6th. Giorgio Pantano remains in 8th for Dodgem. Speaking of Dodgem, by the way, they are having announced their departure. They're now giving reasons for their departure, and evidently it's because Boris Johnson, the team boss, wants to pursue a career in basketball. And out of the race goes Lucas Di Grassi, Button up the inside. Cleanly done. Robert saw him coming and sensibly left him room. But a great move from Jensen, although Robert wanting to fight back into Ravazza. Braking late, but let's see if Button can pull away now. Still haven't seen replays of what happened on the first lap. Now we know FJR has got a very strong car in the straight line, but Button has the better car in terms of grip, so we can expect him to pull away. Now let's have a look here from onboard Fernando Alonso, last season's race winner. He got a reasonable start, remaining in 5th place, although he got overtaken by Massa. And that was the instant between Hamilton and Raikkonen. Hamilton very lucky to keep going. And that was where Alonso was out of the race. So Buemi touches the wheel, and that was strange. I don't think he got shunted up the back at all. I think the errant wheel decided to rip off the front right of Buemi. So very unusual accident. Now we're having a look at... This is Pantano and Glock. I saw them scrapping in the time pages, and that's why. That's how Pantano lost the position to Barrichello. And this is Lucas Di Grassi shunting into the back of a Dark Wolf. And Di Grassi got shunted himself there. I have to try and work out who. I think it was Felipe Massa, but Marc Gené's no damage. That was the Dark Wolf that Di Grassi punted off. But I do believe that Massa suffered some damage in that. So the Bahrain race leader, yes, it was Felipe. He's in the pits now for a replacement section. Bourdais challenging the Dodgem. I think it's Pantano, although we'll have to check that. Timo Glock, meanwhile, having a look at Nico Rosberg's 5th place into the Villeneuve chicane. Just about avoiding contact, and very brave move from Glock. Rubens Barrichello up the inside. Nearly contact there as well. Around the outside, look at that. Fantastic move from the Brazilian. And Rosberg dropping like a stone. He's now got Vettel all over him. Round the outside at the Acqua Minerale. Good move from Sebastian Vettel, the former world champion. Rosberg's got Bourdais all over him. Had a look into everybody's favourite collision point, but no chance for the Frenchman to get through. He has got the straight line speed, but he doesn't have enough distance into Ravazza to make a lunge. Meanwhile, lap 7, Jenson Button has extended his lead over Kubica to 4.1 seconds. Hamilton a further 4.2 behind Robert, and Christian Klein is 18.9 seconds behind the race leader. So it's a good performance from Clean in the AJ. Around the outside, not quite through the Bourdais, but he's up the inside now. He's dummied him. Bourdais up to 8th place past Rosberg, who is dropping back. So while the Dark Wolf appears to be better in qualifying than in the first couple of races where they failed to qualify, it appears they don't have the race pace as yet. Two Pedersens colliding at the Piratella, and it's Kobayashi beached. That's unfortunate. Zhao was having a lunge and off goes Trulli for Mitchell, so both Mitchells out. And that's a disappointment for them, considering Buemi's strong qualifying. Into the pits comes Button. This is an early stop, so we'll keep an eye on the time, but it could be 3 stops, judging how early this is. Down the car goes. We've had long pit stops this year. Last season we saw pit stops in the 4 seconds, and that was just for tyres. But clearly some refuelling going on there. 11.4 seconds is the stop time. Button rejoins 3rd. Into some lovely clear track. So he's going to try and utilise the pace on the new tyres to try and get ahead of Kubica and Hamilton. Into the pits comes Kubica. And Hamilton at the same time. And right next to each other in the pit garages. This could be interesting. The 2 Yorkshire teams right next to each other. Down goes Kubica. Rejoins ahead of Hamilton. And Hamilton had a shorter stop as well, 6/10 quicker. So he's a little bit closer to Robert. And they rejoin 2nd and 3rd respectively behind the Brit of Button. Clean in 4th place. Here's Massa having a look at a Dodgem into the Villeneuve chicane, but no chance there. At the toes of bend, he needs good traction, which he has got. I think it is Heidfeld in front of him, but it could be Pantano. Up the inside is Piratella. Good move from Felipe Massa. Overtaking, it must be Pantano because he's up to 11th place, is the Felipe. Although there's the other Dodgem, that's 10th place, so taking both Dodgems in quick succession. Felipe is on a charge. Next stop, 9th place, and there he is with Rosberg. Having to think about it into the final chicane, the Variante Bassa, but not quite making it there. It's almost as if that corner was named after Felipe. But with 1 letter replaced. Up the inside into Tamburello. That's too quick, surely. Yes, and he's been punted up the back by Rosberg. No position change, but the Dodgems are much closer now. Now let's see how quickly Felipe can close in on Rosberg. And this is Pantano and Heidfeld. Right, battling with each other into Piratella. No collision for them this time, unlike the 2 Pedersens. Felipe not trying again into Tamburello. He's learnt his lesson, hopefully. Meanwhile, lap 27, and Button has got a monumental lead. Look at the straight line speed. Having a look into the Villeneuve, that's a brave one. Rosberg left him space, he saw him coming. And lap 27, it's a 24.2 second lead that Button has got over Kubica. So Button just showing how effective the Tornado is round here. Now into the Variantialities, right on the Dark Wolf gearbox. But the Rosberg got some good traction out of there. This is holding Massa up. It does seem as if the acceleration is relatively poor on the FGR, but they make it up for it by having a good top-end power. Let's see out of the Rivazza. Massa got the better traction out of there. Is he going to have a look? No, he's not. He did that 1 lap as well, a couple of laps ago. Once again, Massa looking around the outside. Out of the race goes the Andy Racing of PK. Transmission failure. Again trying the outside of Tamburello. But Rosberg taking his normal line up the inside now. And no running wide. Massa is through to 9th. His next target is points. And the man in the way. And that's Kubica lapping Rosberg. So that's just how much time Massa's been losing. Jenson Button. Into the pits comes Jenson Button. From the lead, so he's definitely 3-stopping. 32 laps to go as well. Once again, he's the first driver in. So he's been utilising the lighter fuel load to pull out a huge gap over Kubica and Hamilton. And the stop is 11.6 seconds. I would predict that would see him 18 laps. We could see him in again at 13 laps to go, but definitely making one more stop. Last time out in Bahrain, and look at this. Is that Kubica behind? I think it is. No, it's Massa, lap down. Into the pits comes Hamilton, so he's the first one out of Kubica and Hamilton to make a pit stop. On the same lap as Button, in fact, so that's a very fast stop from Hamilton. I saw 10.3 or 10.5, definitely quicker than Button's. So now it's clear track for Hamilton. Can he utilise this to jump Kubica during the second round of stops? Next lap in, it's Kubica. Let's see how long his stop is. Pulling into his garage. Into the pits comes Rosberg as well. 9.8 seconds, that is a fast stop for Robert. Out the race goes Marc Genet in the other Dark Wolf. Kubica rejoins second, a long way ahead of Hamilton. So the shorter stop plus the extra lap has benefited Kubica, but there is still one more round of stops to go for these two. On pulling off, that's Felipe Massa. So once again, FJR's reliability issues kick in. And that's his 4th retirement in a row as well. He failed to finish Melbourne, he failed to finish Malaysia. He retired from the lead in Bahrain, and once again, and that's Barrichello coasting into the chicane and narrowly avoiding the Andy Racing. I believe that is PK. It's transmission failure, and that's the other GRM. So the reliability problems are kicking in now. As both GRMs out, just when they were about to score points as well. Vettel has moved up to 4th place quietly for Guy Racing. I believe he's on a 2-stop, because he's only made 1 so far, and it's jumped him up to 4th. See how that does him at the end of the race. Timo Glock in 5th place, challenging Vettel in fact, into the Variante Alta chicane. And clean racing there. It's not often we see that. And it's Kubica pulling off, the more reliability problems for FJR. This is almost ridiculous. So that moves Hamilton into an automatic 2nd place. Moves Glock up to 3rd. Both shake and bakes in the podium. And a blown engine for Pantano. He's in 7th as well. This is moving Suttil up the order now. In the Kurz-less Andy Racing. Heidfeld moves up to 8th. Jenson Button on his final lap now, lap 62. Hamilton and Glock 2nd and 3rd. Vettel in 4th place, so it's been a very impressive race for him. Where did he start on the grid? He started 11th. So he's made that 2-stop strategy work. Clean in a solid 5th place. Rosberg hanging on to 6th. Suttil 7th. Heidfeld in 8th. Rounding the Aqua Minerale goes Button. He's only got around 1/3 of the lap to go. And Glock is a lap down, so that's just showing how dominant Button has been. only got 4 more corners to go now. And there's one of them. There's another. And the right kink, which I don't really count as a corner. Although Felipe Massa has been treating it as a very big corner and is trying to overtake. Out the final corner comes the current world champion. Jenson Button takes his first win of the season. He knocks Shake and Bake off the top. And that's a thoroughly deserved victory. Hamilton taking second place for Shake and Bake. And Glock continuing their impressively strong start to the season with a double podium. Vettel takes 4th. Klein 5th, Rosberg 6th, Suttil 7th and Heidfeld completing the top 8 and the finishers indeed. Once again it's a war of attrition. Hamilton extends his lead over Glock in the championship by 2 points. Jenson Button moves up to 3rd thanks to his win. Kobayashi remains 4th, although he's got Vettel tied on him for points. Four races so far and 3 different winners. Although 2 of them, in fact 3 of those wins have come from Shake and Bake, and they remain on the top, 32 points ahead of Tornado. Pedersen hold on to 3rd, although their Guy Racing with their impressive race from Vettel has moved up to 4th ahead of Mitchell. AJ now move ahead of FJR as well. It's been a difficult season for FJR so far. Can they make up for that in the next race? Let's wait and see.